Well made, but average. This is the thoughts that I had upon beginning to watch Super Eyepatch Wolf's 2015 video, Why You Should Watch Hunter x Hunter. Something I can now proudly say is not only a video that I will never regret clicking on, as it came across to me in my YouTube feed, but has actively set me on the course to continually change my perspective. Hunter x Hunter is not only one of my favorite animes of all time, it has become a philosophy of sorts to me. It was Eyepatch Wolf that made me go from releasing low-effort game reviews to actively changing what makes me think about what I like in the first place. He's a creator that doesn't come across as someone who just explains things. He is actively a person that brings you into his mind and lays out the process with every sentence he breathes. His most famous of videos, the Why You Should Watch series, effortlessly take the watcher down a journey of self-discovery through the media that he's portraying with one of the most genuine and alluring forms of storytelling that I and many others fail to emulate. This, coupled with that iconic form of expression that he has with each and every video he produces, constantly begs a question in me. Why can't I explain myself the way he does? And while you might think that I mean only in my videos as a YouTuber, it extends to real life as well. It's difficult enough for me to explain directions without folding under the pressure and my fear of it being lost in translation, so you can completely forget about me expressing my emotions to another person. And yet, here this person was, scene after scene, video after video, conveying so much of his intention with words that I thought I understood, until they were crafted from his mouth as though the very meaning derived from his sentences were deliberately made for that purpose. I'm just being hyperbolic, calm down. John is incredible when it comes to speech and expression. Something you can see when each video gets more absurd than the last and still manages to pull you in with the enthusiasm he has, making it effortless as it seems as though he's talking about his favorite show. And sometimes it is, like its video on Riverdale, and sometimes it's Garfield. And it's really fucking good. In the time that I've been subscribed to Eyepatch Wolf, I've likely experienced tens of thousands of creators trying their hardest to make it on this platform come and go. I actually do a lot of scouting for content creators that can make interesting videos for me to consume. It's pretty hard to find someone who not only makes verbally interesting content, which is what I prefer to listen to since I listen to videos while at work and can't watch them, and consistently tries to put quality in their delivery for entertaining output. I think I've likely unsubscribed from hundreds of creators because I thought they made interesting content. Then either decide to flip the script or make completely different things than what I subscribed for. Or had a quality that became completely self-referential and fails to do anything new with itself. I actually quite highly respect the first option, as if a creator is following what they enjoy making, they could only make better content from it. I don't like Let's Play, stream compilations, and reaction videos. I prefer retrospectives and video essays and the occasional commentary channel, because I usually listen to videos while at work. I unsubscribe because I'm constantly looking for things in my subscription feed for watched later playlist ads, since the home feed is always a mixed bag. However, the latter. A creator that believes that content lies in adding sound effects, leaving in bloopers for 20 seconds as a running gag, and talking in circles to make the video longer, doesn't quite mesh well with me. And before you see me as sounding pretentious, I'm not talking about the larger YouTubers. Usually that doesn't tend to happen. Believe me, I'm a part of a few small YouTuber communities. I've seen what some say to make it in the algorithm. Longer videos, flashier editing, be funny to entertain. These are all things that I've heard before, and they do help in a lot of cases, otherwise they wouldn't get propagated. Everybody wants to make a career off their passion, and I understand. It's hard to get a foot on something that so many others have that don't deserve it. But I don't tend to like what the bigger YouTubers make. And if you're watching a video from a guy with 700 subscribers, you might not tend to watch that either, as they're more tight-knit and surrounding something that no one else understands so well. I often see it with the music I listen to, artists going from people who make great songs but under the radar being for niche taste. Then, once they blow up, the hardcore fans seem to hate them for not being underground anymore. The popular thing goes from being crafted carefully with passion for the craft to just do and love, to a chase to be as appealing as possible. Once again, nothing wrong with that. Chase your bag, my guy. But it loses something that it makes it feel like it'll never come back. It leaks out to others that just want to emulate it. It becomes oversaturated to the people who think that breakcore is just putting the almond break in front of a different song, and thus is now art. And not my opinion, by the way. I fall asleep to breakcore rainforest sounds every night. So then there's this notion that once it becomes big, it spreads itself as thin as possible, and the dense parts are impossible to find. And the thinner areas are all you come across afterwards. It happens with video games like Pokemon losing more and more quality the bigger it gets, despite the uptick in sales and worldwide popularity. Call of Duty, I hear it a lot, I guess. It's continually bashed on every release. I haven't heard anyone talk positively about an EA game since Apex, if that counts, despite how big that company is. And it kinda sounds a little familiar to life at the moment. To how you can go from something being the greatest thing ever to painfully mediocre. How your favorite song, video game, or story can become a relic of the past the more you consume it. Become a memory rather than that enjoyment that you once had from trying it the first time. Chasing the dragon. Chasing the first time you've loved does more harm than good, it seems. Can enjoyment itself be the problem? Can it... I'm sorry, what the fuck is this B-roll footage? Yeah, you should be. Anyway, there's this interesting trope in media called the Groundhog Day effect. A phenomenon named after a movie of the same name, Groundhog Day, where the main character is trapped, living one of the days of his life over and over again. The main character desperately tries to progress his life past February 2nd, doing as many wild things as he can think of. Up to and including kidnapping a groundhog and attempting to self-terminate himself in order to escape this nightmare. A task that sends him back to the beginning of the day, making him feel as though nothing he does will ever make a difference. A dread rightfully felt, as everyone he interacts with will bear no meaning, as they will simply forget it all the next day. It's a trope that I found myself loving the many different iterations of. One that highlights the insanity of realizing that everything you think about and do will simply reset, and the next day, week, month, year, or even decade will start again. It gives me a dread that's hard to contend with. A feeling that most horrors fails to instill within me, as this sends me to a different sense of dread that keeps me locked into my own mind and there's no way to escape. And it's this feeling of being trapped in time. A feeling that my choices are futile. My attempts to change things will go unnoticed. That everything I want to escape from in life will ultimately circle back around right to me. And nothing will change. And, well, I've got to say, for all the things that have changed in my life in just the past 5 years, I still find myself slipping back into that feeling that I'm trapped in the monotony of the prison I wake up to. One that repeats the cycle of wake up, work, come home and sleep, and repeat. One that I'm sure many people my age and older will know too well. The dread that comes from repeating it all over and over, with a sentence to know that tomorrow it will repeat, and tomorrow it will repeat. My horror in this amplifies with the Wiki SCP documentation of a simple basketball game that's been recorded for VHS, a video that changes with every subsequent viewing. Slowly, the players and the crowd within the basketball stadium realize that they're trapped in the moment of the recording. Over time, they succumb to the madness of hundreds of playthroughs, from orgies and creating factions, to even resorting to sacrificing the basketball players to whatever god trapped them in this finite time that plays on repeat. The same grueling 2 hours of their lives from a crowd of people that were once innocently watching an NBA basketball game, to a primal desire to escape the madness at all costs. And despite how desperate and awful something like that gets, I really get it. That same madness. That feeling of what can I do to get out of this without having to see the same thing tomorrow. And maybe it's basic human emotions to feel trapped in an uncertain situation. It makes sense. Once we grow older, our experiences of new things shrink considerably. But it just makes me feel so small, and fighting back is just pointless. I'll be a slave to my nature and repeat the same things without knowing what I need to do to break out of it. Well, there are at least times where I feel this way. I can't really say for certain if it is true or not. These movies and shows tend to have a through line within them, that the character must overcome some sort of growth within them. For Groundhog's Day, the character must be less selfish and attempt to see the importance of others, valuing their life as individuals in order to move on and see February 3rd. In the Melancholy of Haruhi, after 15,000 repeats of summer fun, the main character must express the importance of the mundane parts of life that are equally a part of living. And it makes me wonder, what part of my life am I missing in order to find happiness with pushing my boulder up the hill? Part of me knows that my life has changed drastically, not just in the last 5 years, but over my entire life, because I can look back on it in sections, see the little parts of me that have grown, as well as the trinkets I've collected and internalized to promotion of the passage of time. And if I'm ever to peer behind the curtain of my mind's limitation in this problem, I'm more than likely to see that, just like any other part of my life, this is just a small section of what's to come. And circling back, the thing about Eyepatch Wolf and his videos is that it doesn't matter what point of my life I'm in. For some reason, his videos always seem to reach out and touch me, as though his sole purpose isn't making them in order to entertain, but to remind me that I'm just a person experiencing the world with him. That the single most important thing in my life right now isn't just to become rich and famous with the whole world looking at me. It's living. To just go out and experience things, change and grow as a person, and to stop being afraid of the unfamiliar, as though all there is to experience is experience itself. There will never not be a new thing to discover. There's an endless playlist of songs I'd love that I'd never find by hating the songs that I play over and over again. And Pokemon, I'm gonna be honest, I'm just probably gonna play the next game even if it's terrible. But less to say, I want to chase the new. I want more to experience. And I find myself defaulting to the familiar more than I care to admit. But at least I hope that I can grow as a person. Grow with new taste and things to enjoy. To grow as a creator and as a consumer of new things in general. There's a whole world out there just waiting for me to encounter it. So if you like what I do, then I hope I can keep you entertained as I change as a person over time. I can try my best to grow as my cheesy self into a respectable figure if you can try your best to tell me if I'm going in the wrong direction. I mean, at least I hope I can do the same for you. When I write scripts, I tend to start with one thesis in mind, but my mind expands on it to such a point where it just goes beyond the title. It goes from ranting to my own philosophical ramblings that may or may not be a toxic way of living. They are very much a part of me and who I am and what I want to express than just a video. And maybe that's just the fun of it all as well. Me looking back and seeing what I was doing and what I was thinking just a year ago. Or maybe even just a few months ago. But if you've managed to make it this far without clicking off somehow, I really do appreciate you. I really can't imagine it was easy to stick to this without a central theme. But I hope that you have a great day. And thanks for making it to the end. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.